Have you ever gone to see the Stones?
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny because in my mind, and this was not from my generation, but I always had this in my head. And then one day I'm walking into HMV. I'll remember HMV when there was such a thing as a music store. And I see a book and it says Beatles versus Stones.
Mm.
And I always used to ask people, are you a Beatle or you're a Stone? I didn't realize that that was a thing, but that was very much a thing.
Yeah,
So I got to ask you, are you a Beatle or you're a Stone?
I'm a Beatle.
I'm a Stone.
Now, that's not to say I don't like the Rolling Stones. I do, and I respect them, and I'm a big fan of what they do. But Beatles, uh, uh, for me, if you think about it, the Beatles, their their body of work, really, of what they done was under a decade. That's it. Think about that. The Stones have been around till now, and they've made some great music and all that kind of stuff.
And they're
But
still going. They're still going.
they're still going, right? But the Beatles were like basically, for the most part, I believe 62 till 70. That's 8 years. And then they split up, right? And I look at where they started and the evolution of what that band did and what they have done. And if you look at some of their music, even from early on to like what they did on the White Album, what they did on Abbey Road, what they did on Rubber Soul, you could listen to them and you could argue that songs like Helter Skelter, kind of like some of their song literally opened the door to hard rock music or metal, or like there's even a couple songs where you could go drum and bass, kind of like they did trumpet. They did so much stuff that was groundbreaking that I can't put anybody in that kind of like bucket. And again, I like the Rolling Stones for what they did, and I like them for their rebelliousness, and I love them for their energy and stuff like that. But musically, in terms of like opening the door and being like really experimental and just doing a plethora of like really unique and diverse things in that amount of time, it's crazy. And when you look at that band of like John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, and come on, fuck, I can't believe
Paul McCartney, John Lennon.
Hold on. Oh my God, what's his name? It's just killing me. Hold on. Tell me. Hold on. George Harrison. Oh my God, that was like a real, seriously, brain fog. So, anyways,
Very concerned.
between those guys, what they did together, and then what they've done even beyond separately is just, it's just unbelievable, like unbelievable. And so that's why for me, the Beatles, I still put on those records. I'd say just more than the Rolling Stones, but again, both are great bands, great bands. But there's something about that.
True story. I'm dating this girl, my first serious girlfriend, and the Beatles came up, and her first thing to me was, "Who are the Beatles?" I said, "What?" She goes, "Who are the Beatles?" So I said, "John Lennon." She goes, "Who's that?" He was in the Beatles? I said, "That's like not knowing who the Pope was." And I said, I think this relationship is over. I broke up with her over the fact that she did not know who the Beatles or John Lennon was. I couldn't deal with that.
It's like not knowing who the Pope was. Who's the Pope?
So I don't know his real name now, but we do have a new Pope. But his Swatch watch just sold at auction for a record amount for a Swatch watch ever sold. Useless information.
Really?
Yes. What I can't get past the Beatles is "She Loves You, Yeah, 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 I Want to Hold Your Hand." And to me, they're quasi boy bandish, and I can't get past that stage of them. But I know they're edgier, and I know they had their evolution. And I wasn't around the Beatles time, and I just know I heard the Stones music. It really spoke to me, and I've never gone to see the Stones, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I was always more
Well,
of a Stones guy. But I respect the Beatles, and I see what they're about, obviously, and their music is gonna for generations to come. Long when Sir Paul McCartney is no longer with us in the future, the Beatles will be around to the end of time.
yeah. No, you know, those earlier songs, those were early songs. They were like in the youth and all that kind of stuff. I don't really listen to that much anymore.
Right.
I don't listen to. I mean, obviously when I was younger, but to be honest with you, I don't listen to it at all. For me, it's the later music. It's the music from Let It Be. It's the music from like the White Album. It's the music from Abbey Road, stuff like that. That's really where the Beatles for me kind of like lies. It's just like some incredible songs. But again, um, put me
Come
on
together. I
some.
mean, that's the one song that really like spoke to me with them, and I'm like, yeah, I get that. You know, like
I can
so
put that
edgy.
on any time and I
Yes.
can't shut it off anytime.
How many movies has that been on the soundtrack? Like, come to wow.
That is like incredible. That one's an incredible one. Even the you know, slow song like Blackbird, you know, on the acoustic guitar. I know even guys like you know, Dave Grohl. I listened to his audiobook of his book, and he was a huge fan. I know he sang that, I think, with his daughter, stuff like that. There's just like some timeless stuff. But look, there's sometimes I go like, hey, put on the Stones vinyl and I love it and listen to it, and it goes makes so much sense and I love it. But you know, again, going down to that music thing, I think there's just some Beatles stuff that maybe I relate to a little bit more. But you know, hey, maybe it's also the piano player in me. There's more piano in the Beatles than there is in the Stones. Maybe I gravitate to that. I don't know.
That's fair.
You know, so